Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new story. Today I got a story submitted to me that literally just finished. Like, the entire story has been going on for like a year, but it just finished a couple days ago when this kid got absolutely exposed for pretending that Dream used to go to his school. So as a lot of you guys know, Dream recently did a face reveal, which is something I never expected to see. And basically this kid, for an entire year, had been kind of becoming popular off the fact that he faked/pretended to be close friends with Dream. Yeah, so let's just get into it. It's a pretty crazy story, and we're going to call the subscriber who submitted the story Kyle. So anyways, this all started a year ago. Kyle is now a sophomore in high school, but last year he was a freshman because it was his first year. Coming into the school, there was another, it was in this high school, it was kind of like a mix of a lot of kids around the neighborhood, but there's also some new people that just moved to the neighborhood. And one of these new people who just moved in was this kid named Ben. So anyways, within a couple weeks, Ben was starting to spread rumors that he knew the very popular Minecraft YouTuber Dream. And Kyle knew about this when Kyle was sitting at a lunch table with a lot of other people, and Ben sat down. He's like, "Guys, you're not going to believe what I'm about to say, but I have proof." And whenever someone says, "You're not going to believe what I'm about to say, but I have proof," I'm going to start paying attention. That sounds kind of interesting. So everyone, Kyle included, they looked over and they're like, "All right, what's good?" He's like, the popular Minecraft YouTuber Dream. And, Kyle didn't watch Dream or anything, but he knew who he was, right? He's 30 million subs or 20 something at that time. People just know who the guy is, even if they don't watch him. But a few people at the lunch table were kind of fans of the Manhunt or whatever. And they're like, "Yeah, dude, well, what about him?" And this kid's like, "You know how I used to come from Florida and I just moved here?" Insert random middle of the country state. Ben's parents, they fully moved, not just moved a couple blocks, moved many states away. So Ben used to live in Florida, and that is where Dream is from or something, or at least people believe that at some point. And sure enough, they're like, "Okay." And Kyle in his head is already starting to put the blocks together, or the pieces together. He's like, "Okay, obviously this kid's going to try and convince us that, Dream is his friend or something, but let me just hear him out." So Ben goes on to say, "I know you're not going to believe me, but Dream used to go to my middle school, and we actually became pretty close friends. And we became friends before he blew up on YouTube, and we've stayed close together ever since." He's like, "I know Dream's true identity. I know who he is." And they all kind of look at him like, "Yeah, okay, this guy's identity is not shown. He's not going to show it for a very long time. I guarantee that you don't know him." So then Ben starts to be like, "Well, actually, Clay and I," because he uses first name, first name, personal basis or something. He's like, "Actually, Clay and I, we go way back, man. We go way back. And, I got some proof." So at this point, Kyle and everyone else at the lunch table, they're a little bit intrigued. This kid says that he knows who Dream is, and he says he has proof. Maybe they're going to see a Dream face reveal a little bit before it actually happens. So yeah, sure enough, he goes into his phone, and he's like, "Well, first of all, you guys want to see what Dream looks like?" And look, a lot of people at the lunch table, yeah, they were kind of suspicious. Yeah, they kind of were I don't know if this kid's lying or not, but what if he wasn't? What if he wasn't and this was actually going to be Dream's face? Remember, this is a year ago when he didn't probably even have plans of revealing it at that point, really had plans. And so, yeah, everyone kind of looked over, and sure enough, it was a photo of Ben and some random blonde kid. That's the other thing, right? At this point, the only thing people knew about Dream was that he was blonde, maybe had blue eyes, and was probably just a normal looking white dude, which it turned out that he was. But that's kind of what people assume. So sure enough, it was Ben and a photo of some random blonde kid, right? And immediately Kyle's like, "Dude, how do I know that that's a Dream and not some random kid?" And Ben's like, all right, well, if that's not proof enough, I have more. Okay. So anyways, he pulls up his phone and he has text messages from someone named Clay. And these text messages go pretty far back. And it's not like he made them all up last night or something, which would have been an obvious giveaway. But he showed kind of months and months and months of text messages with someone named Clay. And sure enough, he said, "Congrats on the success with YouTube. Doesn't specify specific numbers or channels or anything, by the way. That's an important detail for you to realize. But he does say congrats on the success on YouTube. They talk about meeting up in Florida again when he gets back on break or whatever. And at this point, Kyle's like suspicious, but the other kids at the table are starting to really believe it. They're like, oh my God, like this dude like has been texting this guy for months. Like if he was playing, and they're like, dude, if he was planning a joke or something, like he would have definitely, like he would have like done this all last night. Like no way, like this is like legit. And he's like, fine. And finally, you know, the Ben kid's like, well, here's like the last piece of proof that can almost guarantee that I know Dream, that I knew him like before the whole thing. And they all kind of look at him. They're like, okay. And he pulls up a file, and it's a 2-hour-long file. And it's like, he starts playing it, and it's Dream's Minecraft Manhunt, but it appears to be unedited. And, you know, Ben goes on to say, yeah, so actually, you know, Clay, my friend, sent this to me before he uploaded it so I could give it a look over. And it was like, the whole idea was like, this was like unedited footage or whatever that, you know, was the raw file or something that wasn't the final touch. And so they're watching a little bit of it, and they're like, oh my God, like, dude, I think he's legit. And all the other kids at the table turn to each other. And Kyle is just, he's not convinced. And I'm sure that there's some other kids at the table that were not completely convinced. But Kyle was not convinced, and maybe someone else. But the people, at least the ones that were talking, the most vocal people at the table, were convinced. That's the thing. The people that were most vocal at the table were convinced that, like, this kid actually knows Dream. So Ben went on to tell basically everyone else in his grade that he knew Dream. He showed the photo of him and quote-unquote Dream, and he showed the text messages and then the raw manhunt footage or whatever as like the final piece of proof, final nail in the coffin, right? So all of a sudden, within like only about a week or so, this kid Ben, who just moved to the neighborhood, right? So he doesn't really know anyone. Within a week, immediately skyrockets to like one of the most popular people in school. I guess a lot of the people who went to the high school were like, you know, fans of, either they were fans of, I don't know if they're fans of Dream, but they at least knew who he was. And all of a sudden they were like, oh my God, like he knows a super famous guy. I want to associate with someone who knows a super famous guy, because then that means that I know a super famous guy by proxy. Oh my God, like I am one removed from knowing someone super famous. I got to be friends with him. Remember, guys, this is high school, freshmen in high school. Dumb stuff like this does happen. The real world, no one really cares that much. I mean, a little bit, but you know what I mean. So yeah, Kyle was always suspicious, and he had always kind of been suspicious, and he told me that, you know, even if I don't believe him, because Kyle submitted the story to my Instagram, which you can submit stories to as well. It's in the description. Also leave a like while you're down there if you're looking. But anyways, Kyle's like, yeah, you know, if I really wanted proof, he had like messages with other kids in his class that he was like not convinced, but I believed him, right? So yeah, so this kid Ben kind of becomes one of the most popular kids in class, all based on the fact that he allegedly knows Dream. Now, if you guys aren't aware, which I think everyone was, because even mainstream media covered Dream's face reveal, which is pretty crazy. Dream was originally planning on doing a face reveal at like in real life event, but I think just after delay, he decided to just make a YouTube video about it. He hyped it up a lot. He's really smart when it comes to marketing. And yeah, so a couple days ago, he did a face reveal. And this story continues for an entire year until a couple days ago when the kid Ben gets exposed. If you made it this far into the video, comment Dream down below. That's the secret word of the day. And while you're down there, leave a like on the video, and or Dream will appear in your room at 3 in the morning with a diamond sword and will decapitate you. Or I'm not trying to threaten you to leave in a like, but I'm just saying that there is a chance. There's at least a 1% chance that if you don't leave a like on the video right now, the Dream may or may not appear in your room at 3 in the morning with a diamond sword to decapitate you. I'm not saying it's going to happen if you don't leave a like, but if I were you, I wouldn't leave it up to chance like that. I just wouldn't, but I don't know. Maybe you want to be decapitated at 3 in the morning by a floating green man. I don't know. So it's up to you, man. Anyways, so a lot of time passes. And while Ben isn't, or like I'd say actually a little less than a year passes, because this all happened about a year ago and Dream just did a face reveal. So at this point, Ben is still pretty popular. However, obviously he's not still only popular because he knows Dream, allegedly. However, all the foundations of all of his friendships are based on that fact. Like, that's how everyone started to get to know him. And then, he kind of turned out to be a jerk, but kind of like the jerk that is like, you're allowed to be like known as like the popular guy in high school, even if you are a jerk. And you're kind of like became a jerk because you are popular. It's kind of like the power dynamic. You kind of lean into it a little bit. So at this point, I don't know, he kind of has seated up his position, and I think it was a couple weeks ago, maybe it was longer. Anyways, whenever Dream announced that he was revealing his face, everyone in the school started to remember, oh yeah, this Ben kid has known him for a while. So they go up and talk to him, and like, for example, Kyle's like, hey man, like I heard Dream's going to do a full-on face reveal, like it's going to be interesting. And at this point, Ben is like trying to avoid the subject matter, which Kyle immediately finds suspicious. Ben's like, yeah, it'll be whatever. Like, I'm not even going to look because I already know what it looks like. Basically, right, what he's implying by that is that he doesn't actually have the face reveal. Because the thing is, why would you not want to embrace that? And Kyle immediately is like, okay, this is a little bit suspicious. I feel like Ben would be doing a victory lap here, as it is definitive proof that he knows him, unless he was lying about the entire thing, and this is only proof that he didn't, right? So yeah, it's kind of like buzz. It's kind of like the buzz around the school of, Dream's going to do a face reveal, and this kid who's super popular, Ben, basically based his introduction to everyone on the fact that he knows Dream. So yeah, that's kind of the talk of the town. Everyone's kind of like thinking about it, and Ben is not talking, because like, if Ben actually was friends with Dream, he would be reminding everyone that he told them, he showed the face reveal early, that he's been friends with him since the start, that he has a photo with him. He would be basking in the glory that Dream was about to truly validate 100% accuracy the claims he was making last year. However, he completely shied away from the subject matter, which is kind of a sign that he may or may not have been lying the whole time. But yeah, so people were talking about it, and people also started to mention that this kid just wasn't really talking about how, he knew Dream, and if he really knew him, I don't know why he wouldn't be saying something, ? Because I don't know, dude, like that kind of just seems like something you'd say, something you'd bring up. I don't know. But anyways, right? So it's finally like the day before Dream's face reveal. You know how he went on Twitter and he had everyone react to it or whatever, and the hype, like Dream did an incredible job hyping up his face reveal. Yes, that probably meant that he got more backlash than he would have if he did it very quietly, but also this guy's a marketer, and whenever you do big things on the internet, you will probably get proportionally big hate or whatever. That's just how it is, right? The more successful you are, the more people that will say bad things. That's how it is. However, he did a really good job hyping it up. So everyone in the school was really hyped up for it as well. Like, everyone was kind of pumped, everyone was interested, and there was a huge focus on, well, because like everyone like mostly believed Ben. Everyone, like, yes, I'm sure some kids were like 100% in believe and like, oh my God, yes, you're 100% right, whatever. But there was also a lot of kids that were like, well, that's very convincing, but it's not 100% proof. But at the same time, a lot of people started becoming friends with him based on the fact that he probably knew Dream. So a lot of the kids who still had a little bit of suspicion were really curious to know if this was going to prove if Ben was lying or not. So anyways, Kyle's kind of interested, and Kyle's like, goes up to him with his friends. He's like, hey, like, can we see the photo of like you and Dream again? And at this point, Ben responds really weirdly. He's like, no, sorry, for privacy, like of Dream, I can't show that again. And Kyle is like, dude, what? Like, he's showing his face tomorrow. No, he's showing it like in 12 hours, man. Like, why do we need to worry about the privacy of him? Like, it's not like we're going to leak it early or anything. And he's like, well, if you did, like, it might get back to me, and I just can't have that. And Kyle kind of looks at him, like, suspiciously. Because, like, sure, I guess that is kind of a valid result or a valid reason. However, that would have been a valid reason if you didn't show anyone and didn't want to show anyone. However, you already showed the image to literally everyone. So if it was going to leak back to you, if that was really an issue, I don't think you would have, like, submitted, I don't think you would have shown it to literally everyone at the school. Like, I don't know, maybe that's just me. Maybe, like, it's reverse psychology. I don't even know how that works, but I'm just trying to justify this logic that makes no sense. Sorry, guys, it's a tough job. Anyways, though, Kyle and his friends immediately become very suspicious. So they go back to the lunch table, they sit down, and they're just like, okay, this is weird. I don't know why this kid is not showing us the photos. And they kind of come to the conclusion that it's pretty sketchy if he knows Dream or not. Kyle and a few others are convinced that he was lying the whole time. However, some of his other friends are like, well, the other evidence was pretty convincing, man. Like, you can't completely discount him yet, which turns out you could have, but whatever, right? So, anyways, they all kind of like that night, they all plan to make sure Kyle and his friends, not everyone at the school, but Kyle and his friends plan to do their homework early so that they can get on a group FaceTime call and they can watch like the face reveal together. So they get their homework done and they're waiting and they get the tweet notification, they get the video notification, and they're all sitting in the, what's it called? They're all sitting in like the premiere for the video. And, you know, if you watch that video or not, like Dream kind of like teases his face for like a good 2 or 3 minutes. And then eventually he shows it. He shows his real face. And Kyle immediately says on the FaceTime call, that's not the guy. That's not the guy that Ben showed us. Like, that's a totally different guy. Sure, it was a blonde dude, but the faces looked totally different, right? And immediately everyone else on the call was like, yo, like, that's a totally different guy. Like, Kyle's not lying. Like, that's a totally different guy. And immediately, right, apparently other people were doing like similar stuff or they were watching, and all on social media, Snapchat, Instagram, DMs or whatever, right? It just started spreading super quickly, like that this kid Ben faked the entire thing. Because the photo he showed was 100% not Dream, or at least not the Dream in the face reveal, assuming that you don't believe that Dream just paid someone to do that, which, okay, that he obviously didn't. Or did he? No, I'm just kidding. I'm playing. Come on now. But anyways, yeah, so the next day, right, the next day in the school, which is like only a couple days ago because Dream just showed his face. The next day in the school, right, Ben is not, you know, Ben was normally, you know, the very loud, popular, like, center of attention, all that type of stuff, right? But he was, like, ducking everyone. He, like, sat in the very back of the class. He was, like, running very quickly to the class. He was sitting in the bathroom instead of chilling at recess, like, or whatever free time they had. He was definitely trying to avoid everybody because he just got exposed in front of millions of, okay, not, basically millions of, like, the Dream face reveal proved to everyone that he was lying. So, yeah, at lunch, you couldn't see Ben was nowhere to be seen. But every lunch table, and when I mean every lunch table, I mean probably like 95% of the lunch tables, basically every lunch table, was talking about, you know, how Ben completely made that thing up. You would have thought it would not have been that big of a deal. However, you have to realize that a year ago, Ben spoke nonstop, right? Nonstop. And that was the foundation of him kind of becoming the popular guy or whatever. And he was kind of known as the popular guy that was a jerk because he was a popular guy. So, no, I don't know what happened to Ben. I don't know if people were like, oh, well, you're not popular anymore because of that, or if people let that go because the story literally just happened. I got it submitted to me yesterday. So I guess maybe I'll give a quick update in a later story if I get an update from this guy who submitted it to me. Moral of the story is like, it's okay to lie, question mark. Like, there's some philosophies that say you should never lie. Maybe a white lie is okay. But at the end of the day, if you base everything on a lie that could be exposed, you just got to prepare to suffer the consequences. You're better off, you know, you'll be less stressed in your life if you don't lie, like in general. So yeah, there's actually a moral to the story. Leave a like on the video right now, or, I don't know, please. And yeah, and also if you want to support the channel, the best possible thing you can do if you're not, or subscribe, of course, but go ahead and watch another video. Watching a video right now actually helps a ton. Bye.